NFL player props here on PrizePicks for Sunday, November 13th here. Before I get started, there's a link in the description below to sign up for PrizePicks, or you could use promo code TUFF to sign up. PrizePicks will match 100% of your first deposit. There is also a Discord link in the description where the main server is currently completely free, as well as Patreon link where I do post all the plays here that I'm making on PrizePicks. For each given sport that I do play NFL, college football, NBA, and college basketball on PrizePicks. So go ahead and check out that link in the description below of this video. But let's get into it, you guys. 2 total player props that I like. Sunday slate. This is just for the Sunday morning and afternoon games here. 2 plays that I do like, however. Again, not a gambling expert. This is not financial advice. These are simply just the plays I'm personally looking at making. Hopefully give you guys some insight and analysis to make your own player prop decisions here. But let's get into it. So the first one I like is going to be Saquon Barkley. And I like his over 93.5 rush yards here at home against the Houston Texans. So again, first and foremost, the matchup here for Saquon is absolutely top tier, as good of a matchup as you can get for a workhorse running back like Saquon. Saquon's game log this season, rush yards, he's hit the over of 93 3 times when he's gotten significant carries here of 24, 31, and 18, 110, 146, and 164 rush yards against Jacksonville, Chicago, and Tennessee. Okay, so he's hit this only 3 times this season, but 93.5 rush yards is extremely attainable for a player like Saquon Barkley against the Texans, which is an absolute smash spot. So running backs against the Texans this season, you guys, running backs, right? Derrick Henry went for 219 on 32 carries. Khalil Herbert, 20 carries for 157. Josh Jacobs, 20 carries for 143. Miles Sanders, 17 carries for 93 yards, who, again, that offense in Philly doesn't even really rely on Miles Sanders to be a bell cow back. On 17 carries, he still had 93 rush yards, 5.5 yards per carry. Dontrell Hilliard in that same game as Derrick Henry had 8 carries for 83 yards, 10.4 yards per carry. We saw Travis Etienne split those backfield touches with James Robinson, 10 carries each. Travis Etienne had 10 carries for 71 yards, averaging 7.1 yards per carry. And then Austin Eckler, who only had 13 carries, had 60 yards on 13 carries for 4.6 yards per carry. And then Melvin Gordon, obviously here you can see 10 carries for 47 yards. 4.7 yards per carry. So, if Saquon here can get 5 to 6 yards per carry here, I think he's good for at least 20 carries in this matchup. The Giants here are 4.5 point favorites at home. The over-under is at 40.5. The Giants should be able to win this game pretty easily, which, hopefully they can just rely on Saquon the rest of the way, definitely giving him a ton of work in that second half. But just overall, the Texans giving up the most rushing yards to the running back position here at 1,235 rush yards on the season. That's over 100 more rush yards than the next highest team, the Panthers. I just think with the game script being heavily favored towards the Giants in this game, with Saquon Barkley being able to be solidified, he is a workhorse back here. He's good for 20 carries, I believe, in this game without question. We've seen him go over 20 carries already 5 times this season. With an elite, like absolutely as good of a matchup as you can get for a running back here. I just feel strongly about this play. I think this play is one of the safer plays on the board currently, in my opinion. And again, I don't want to overthink this one. I hope you guys, don't overthink this one either, as far as just the potential reasons why this could not hit. Obviously, there's always potential for a player prop to not hit either over or under, whatever you take. But Saquon here has a very, very, very good matchup here against the Texans. Bell cow back. Love the over here on this one, 93.5 rush yards for Saquon against the Texans at home. Number 13th is going to be another morning game prop, and it's going to be Greg Dulcich, tight end for the Denver Broncos. Taking the over here on this one at 39.5 receiving yards. Since he made his debut as the tight end for the Denver Broncos, he's hit this in all 3 games. 44, 51, and 87 has just been getting better and better. And he does have the best matchup he's had so far this season against the Titans. So you can see your Greg Dulcich game log. Looking at target-wise, first game of the year, he had 3 targets for two catches for 3 targets, 44 yards. Then had 9 targets, 6 catches for 51, and then 5 targets for 4 catches for 87, averaging. He's averaging 15-plus yards per catch. Tight ends versus the Titans this season. That's a tongue twister. Tight ends versus the Titans this season. 39.5 is the over. We saw John Bates had 39. Dawson Knox hit it, 41. Foster Moreau, 44. Noah Gray, 45. Kyler Granson, 62. Mo Ali Cox, 85. And Travis Kelce, 106. Right, we saw 2 tight ends from the Colts hit the over on this one. We saw 2 tight ends from the Chiefs hit the over on this one. A tight end from the Raiders hit this. Dawson Knox hit this with 41, and John Bates hit this in 39. Jelani Woods also caught one catch for 33 yards. So those three tight ends for the Colts really feasted against the Titans. And then O.J. Howard, even down here, and Darren Waller in minimal plays here, got 22 yards. So I think this is a great spot for Greg Dulcich. The Titans here on the season, giving up the fourth most receiving yards to tight ends overall. Targets per game, the Titans are right here at the top of the board as well, number like 7th overall in the NFL as far as amount of targets to the tight end position. But if you take a look at yards here, Greg Dulcich he's the most talented of all these top 6 tight ends in my opinion, and he's got the fourth best matchup in my opinion based on just how many receiving yards tight ends have had against the Titans this season. Taking a look though at the snap count, Tomlinson, Saubert, the Albert O here, Andrew Beck. Greg Dulcich is the unquestioned number 1 tight end in this offense now, and it's kind of coincided with Courtland Sutton. His just production overall has really tanked since Greg Dulcich has become a part of this offense, and it makes sense. We saw it at UCLA for Greg Dulcich, super talented, really be able to dominate offensively whenever he does get touches and gets targets. His yards after the catch, pretty remarkable what he's able to do with the football. And I think Russell Wilson, really starting to realize that. 80% of the snaps in week 8, 71 in week 6, and 59 here, which wasn't even a ton. Had the most snaps of any tight end in that offense. But 80% of the snaps here in week 8 is what we're really looking at. You really do love to see it here for Greg Dulcich. I think this line is just a little bit too low. You could also take a look at fantasy score as well. Just because, I think he's good for about 3 or 4 catches in this game. So that PPR points give you a nice base there. But 39.5 receiving yards for Greg Dulcich. Love this play here against the Titans, which, he's hit this all 3 games this season. And this week against the Titans is easily his best matchup that he's going to have, that he's had, I guess, so far here. So 2 player props here for Sunday, November 13th, both morning games. Saquon Barkley over 93.5 rush yards. The matchup is just too good to not take a look at this one. And then Greg Dulcich over 39.5 receiving yards as the new tight end for Russell Wilson against the Tennessee Titans, fourth most receiving yards to tight ends in the NFL. So again, let me know in the comments what you guys feel about these 2 player props here. Patreon plays are live by the time this video goes live. There's multiple NFL plays live on Patreon. Go ahead and check out that link. Discord link. If you're not yet signed up for PrizePicks, link is in the description below. Drop a like on this video, you guys, and as always, let's cash.